Hey everybody, it's Mike Sullivan with Born to Shine. Today we have a great guest from Illinois, my hometown, and her name is Dr. Corinne McCabe. She is the principal over at an awesome elementary school out in the northwest suburbs of Illinois, Chicago. And you know what? Thank you so much, Corinne, for carving out some time with us today.
Of course. Thanks so much for having me.
Absolutely. And you know, what was we were talking about it, some of the questions earlier, but what was your journey like to become the principal? That's such an important role, such a high role. A lot of people looking up to you, Corinne, for your leadership, your guidance, your wisdom. You know, what was your journey like?
So I didn't always have that aspiration to become a principal per se. I think it was always in me to be a teacher.
Hmm.
I grew up with in a family of educators. My mom was a first grade teacher for years. I mean, I grew up knowing education and I lived it. My mom was a first grade teacher.
Hmm.
I used to go into her classroom all the time, help out. And so I lived this life of a teacher since I was young. So I always knew I wanted to be a teacher. I actually tried not to become a teacher in college, and tried to go into the business side of things, and
Hmm.
it just didn't work out for me. Actually, it took me almost 7 years to complete undergraduate, because I tried not to follow my purpose, I would
Hmm.
say.
Hmm.
It just wasn't working out for me. And then finally, when I listened to what I was supposed to be doing, then I found my love and my passion, and I never turned back. So once I became a teacher, everything just clicked. And then I had some really amazing principals and mentors in my own teaching career that pushed me and believed in me, and really encouraged me to pursue leadership. And during that time, I wasn't the most confident in myself. I didn't view myself as a leader. I viewed myself more as like, oh, I'm a teacher. I'm happy being a teacher. I love the kids. I think I'm a good teacher. I'm content with that. But they kept pushing and they kept, encouraging me, and you should really pursue leadership. So they pushed so much that I eventually kind of found my inner confidence,
Hmm.
and started to pursue the education that I needed. And then through that education, I started to believe more and more in myself. And I grew the skills that I ended up needing to feel even more confident. And then ended up landing a role as an assistant principal and had another amazing mentor. And within a year, I was asked to become a principal. And I wasn't sure I was ready yet. It's always this, I always walk this fine line of, are you guys sure? Are you sure you see that in me? And, I had several people say, you're ready, let's go. And so I took the leap of faith and jumped in with both feet. And I've been a principal since. So this is my fourth year of being a principal. And I would say it's probably both the most challenging yet the most rewarding job I've ever had. So it took a lot of people, a lot of mentors, believing me and encouraging me along the way.
Love it. That is so beautiful. And I love your humble heart, you know, because they see it in you. Your parents saw it in you. Everybody saw it in you. You know that was your purpose, you know, and that they were encouraging you. So that's so cool.
Yeah.
You know, and when you were a K through 12 kiddo yourself,
Mhm.
was there anything that you may have struggled with? Like for me, I was bullied in third grade, and that led to anxiety and depression. I mean, I was a mess. Was there
Yeah.
anything that you struggled with when you were a kiddo?
Oh yeah. So yes, I was the kid in school who got in trouble for not speaking.
Hmm.
Um, in fact, I was so shy and quiet that there were often times where my parents had to come into school because I just wouldn't talk. So back then I didn't know this about myself. But through years of therapy as an adult, right,
Hmm.
I've learned, and I'm still dealing with those things. In fact, I'm still in therapy now about
Good.
it.
Yeah.
Um, but I struggled most of my life with a high level of social anxiety.
Mm,
So as a child, I had no idea what I was feeling inside, um,
mm,
or why I was feeling the way I felt. I didn't know why I was so concerned about. It was always, I don't know if they're going to like me, or if I say the wrong thing, nobody's going to like me, or they're going to make fun of me, or I struggled often with that, and it wasn't just with peers; it was with other adults. It was with. It took me probably until the age of 20 to be able to order food through a drive-through window.
mm,
Like I would have to have other people order over me, even if I was the driver.
mm.
So there was this high level of social anxiety. Um, and I actually found myself veering down a very dangerous path in trying to cope with that. And it was, later as an adult, once I found like my passion in my career and learning about different traumas and how different things can impact you as a child and how we carry those things into adulthood, that a lot of it actually stemmed from me being an adopted child.
Mm,
So my brother and I were adopted. I was very young. I was an infant. I don't have any memories of it. My brother was about 3 years old when we were adopted and put into foster care. Don't get me wrong, we were very, very fortunate. I was one of the lucky ones. My brother was one of the lucky ones. We were put into foster care at a very, very young age. We were placed with a foster family immediately. We ended up being adopted by those foster parents. We grew up in a very caring and loving and supportive home. Um, but I was always left with this underlying feeling of not being good enough,
mm,
not being worthy.
mm.
Um, and that has been something that I have struggled with all my life. Um, and it's just something that I've been dealing with for forever. And something that I still struggle with now, even though I have better, healthier coping skills now as an adult because I've been working on those issues and those traumas from when I was a child. So it's something, anxiety is real. It's not a made up thing, which I think is often misunderstood. But it's learning and bringing about that awareness within yourself and being okay with that, and seeking the help that we need to deal with that and learning those healthy coping strategies.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Absolutely. No, I love that. And I am with you. I'm a lifer. So working through my past trauma, my past pain, still yeah, getting help with a therapist, learning the tools like I'm getting EMDR now. It's right,
Yeah,
the eye
same.
movement,
Hmm.
yeah, desensitization
Hmm.
and reprocessing. So for those of you who are like, what the heck is EMDR?
Yeah.
That's the acronym. And it's great. It helps with past trauma, past pains, and so yeah, that's cool that you're doing that too. And I love that you're in a super high position and people now and so many of us are all the same. No matter what position we're in, we're all dealing and struggling with something. So it's there's a song called Truth Be Told, and one of the lines is, I don't know why it's so hard to admit it when being honest is the only way to fix it.
Mm.
So, I love your honesty and I really appreciate you opening up and sharing because
Of course.
you're not the only one. So
Yeah.
and we're all in this together and we all need each other. And if you're a kiddo and you're feeling anxious, social anxiety, ADD, OCD, whatever you have, right? I've
Yeah.
got all of them. I have A through
Yeah.
Z. It's okay. And you have people like Dr. McCabe that are going to love on you and connect you with the right counselor, the right, person to support you. So please just open up.
Hmm.
And yeah, so thank you for sharing that. That was beautiful. And what's working well at your elementary school to support your kiddos with their emotional and mental health? And where's the gap? Like every principal knows we're doing this, but we'd like
Mhm.
more. And then the follow-up is with a magic wand. What would that
Yeah.
more be?
Yeah. So one of the things that my background has taught me over the years, and one of the things I got really interested in was neuroscience and
Hmm.
why, why our feelings are the way they are and why our body reacts the way it does. And um, like through Butler University, I was certified in applied educational neuroscience, and it was so impactful. And one of the things that I brought from that program into our school here was teaching students about their brain and how it impacts everything, right? And in the different parts of their brain. And when they are feeling a way that they're feeling, whether it's, if they're angry or mad or upset and their body reacts a certain way, that sometimes it's their body trying or their brain trying to keep them safe. And sometimes they don't have control over that, right? And so we've been teaching our students. So I teach my staff, and then my staff and myself, we teach our students through what we call town hall meetings here,
Mm,
teach our students the neuroscience behind, what's going on inside of them, so that
hmm.
they can have a better understanding of what's happening within their nervous system. Um, so, we teach the students in some, with the little ones, even the little ones, we use some of that scientific language like prefrontal cortex
Hmm.
and limbic region and amygdala. It's
Hmm.
great to hear kindergartners saying amygdala. Best thing
Yeah,
ever.
absolutely.
Well,
Parasympathetic nervous system. So
yeah,
good.
they
Yeah,
they
you're
get
like,
it.
whoa, little
But
neuroscientists here.
yeah, they're amazing. It's amazing what they will pick up on.
That's
But
awesome.
just having students understand that everybody has a window of tolerance, right?
Hmm.
And depending on what happens on their day to day, their window of tolerance can be this big or it can be this big.
Hmm.
And everybody's window of tolerance is different.
Hmm.
Um, and understanding that when their body reacts the way it does, if it shuts down, if it wants to fight, if it wants to run away, that's their brain trying to keep them safe.
Hmm.
And that, you know, we don't always want to view the kid as a bad kid. That doesn't mean you're a bad kid. It means maybe your brain got it wrong. Uh,
Hmm.
maybe your amygdala was heightened because your window of tolerance was this big today
Yeah.
because you didn't have any sleep or you didn't eat, you didn't have breakfast, or, I had a student who didn't have dinner or breakfast,
Hmm.
so his window of tolerance was this big and
Hmm.
he didn't want to go to class because he's hungry, right?
Right.
So we have to understand that that doesn't make you a bad kid. It means that your body is in survival mode, and that you are in a safe place, but maybe your brain doesn't realize it, and that your brain is trying to keep you safe. So bringing about that awareness so that it doesn't have this negative impact on their self-image
Hmm.
is so important. And so helping students understand what's happening inside of them can oftentimes, um, not send them down this spiral of I'm a bad kid, because there's nothing more heart-wrenching than hearing a child say, I'm a bad kid.
Yeah,
Um, there are no
absolutely.
bad kids. There's no child, and this is one of my messages to my staff, is there is no child that wakes up in the morning and comes to school and says, I'm going to go be a bad kid today. I am coming to school to make your life miserable today.
Right. Right.
Right?
Right.
Like that's just not a thing.
I
So,
love that. No, I love that. I've been blessed to connect with a lot of leaders like you, Dr. McCabe, and that was the first time I've heard that you're actually bringing in the neuroscience into elementary school and helping them to understand why they're feeling what they're feeling. And sometimes the window varies, depending on did you eat, did you sleep enough, what did you eat, So
right.
that's I think that's awesome. And what would you like to magic wand time if you had it
Yeah.
and there's just it's like a blank check that's been written for you. What would you like to see more of to support your kiddos even more extensively for the school year? What would that look like?
Yeah. Like just in the world in general, more empathy, right?
Yeah, yeah.
I think, and more understanding. I think one of the things that I teach everyone or say to everyone is treat everyone you meet with grace. You don't understand and you don't know what other people are going through. And
Mm,
whether you're a child or an adult, you don't know what that other person is going through on a day-to-day basis. There's a couple messages that I would leave with listeners, and one is treat everyone you meet or encounter with grace every day. Never stop learning because, there's something to be learned out of every situation and any experience that you have, a child or an adult. And then one of the things that we kind of is our motto here, and this is something that we started when I became principal here, um, is it kind of goes along with that. Like there's nothing that can't be figured out. Like somebody said this once, and I wish I remember who had said it, to give them credit because it's definitely not mine. But it said there everything is figure outable. In today's society and in today's world, when it feels like everything's crashing down on you, right?
mm.
There's no there's nothing that can't be figured out. Everything is figure outable. And that's what I try to tell our students, right? Like when I get called to a classroom because of a disciplinary issue or something along those lines, we come at things from a very problem solving focus. Like, let's solve the problem. What
Mhm.
happened? We're a very restorative school. What happened? How were others impacted? What can we do about it? How do we solve the problem? Um, Nothing can't be figured out. And that's, I think, the biggest message. And I have a freshman in high school niece and a senior in high school nephew. And,
Mhm.
when I hear about things happening in the world and kids giving up and taking
Mm.
their own lives, the first call I make is to them and I say, nothing can't be figured out. There is nothing, I know that's a double negative, but there's nothing in this world that we cannot figure out together.
Yeah.
You
And
know,
oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
yeah, I think that that's just the message that I want all people to know that you know, there's nothing that can't be figured out.
I love that. And you know what? Thank you so much, Dr. McCabe, for your heart, for your story, for sharing, and just for your wisdom and your time. Thanks for
Yeah.
carving out some time for us today.
Of course. Thank you so much for having me.
that you were born